Ever felt like you're chasing a ghost? You reach out, they pull away. You show love, they shut down. It feels like a game you never signed up for. But here is the truth. They aren't cold. They are terrified. And they are waiting for you to do 4 specific things they will never have the courage to ask you for. If you keep doing what you're doing, you will lose them. If you learn these 4 shifts, the wall finally comes down. Most people think avoidants want to be left alone. That is a lie. They want connection, but they want it on terms that don't feel like a cage. Today, I am going to show you exactly how to unlock the heart of a man who seems unreachable. But before we go deeper, I want you to do one thing. If you've ever been pulled in and pushed away by the same person, drop the words, "I see you," in the comments. Just those 3 words, "I see you." That's how I'll know who's really listening. And that's who I'll be speaking to for the rest of this video. The first thing an avoidant man desperately wants, but will never tell you, is the gift of a graceful exit. This sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? You think if you let them go, they'll just stay gone. But for someone with an avoidant attachment style, the greatest fear isn't being alone, it's being consumed. It's the feeling that their autonomy is being swallowed by your needs. When they feel a spark of intimacy, their internal alarm system goes off. It tells them they are losing themselves, so they pull back. Usually, a woman's reaction is to lean in harder. You ask what's wrong. You try to fix it. You demand to know why they are being distant. In their head, this confirms their worst fear. You are a pressure cooker. What they actually want is for you to notice the pullback and say, with your actions or a few simple words, "Okay, I see you need some space. I'm going to go do my own thing." When you grant them that space without making them feel guilty for needing it, something magical happens. The pressure vanishes. And when the pressure vanishes, the safety returns. They realize that being with you doesn't mean losing their freedom. They want to know that you are a person who is happy with or without them. That is the ultimate aphrodisiac for an avoidant. It's the realization that you aren't a vacuum waiting to be filled by their attention. You are a sun that shines regardless of whether they are standing in the light. The second thing they crave is low-stakes intimacy. We live in a world that tells us deep love is about big conversations and constant emotional check-ins. For an avoidant, a "we need to talk" text is a death sentence. It triggers a fight or flight response. They feel like they are being put on trial. What they actually want is to feel close to you without the weight of an emotional interrogation. They want the parallel play version of a relationship. This means sitting in the same room, doing different things, and just enjoying the presence of one another. It means going for a drive where the focus is the road, not the relationship status. It means sharing a joke or a hobby where the subtext isn't, "Do you love me enough yet?" When you remove the demand for constant emotional validation, you create a vacuum that they will eventually want to fill. They start to feel safe enough to offer up bits of themselves because they don't feel like those bits are being mined out of them. They want to know that intimacy can be light. They want to know that being with you can be easy. If every interaction feels like a therapy session, they will run for the hills. If your interactions feel like a playground, they will want to stay all day. The third secret desire is for you to be the anchor, not the storm. Avoidant people often have a lot of internal chaos that they work very hard to suppress. They are hyper-vigilant. They are constantly scanning for signs of conflict or entrapment. When you become emotional, reactive, or volatile in response to their distance, you become another storm they have to manage. They already have enough storms inside. What they are looking for is someone who is unshakable. They want a woman who can see them pulling away and not lose her own center. This doesn't mean you become a doormat. It means you become a lighthouse. A lighthouse doesn't run out into the water to save the ship. It stays on the rock and keeps shining. When he sees that his moods, his distance, and his fears don't break you, he begins to trust you. He thinks, wow, she is stable. She is safe. She isn't going to collapse if I have a bad day. This builds a profound sense of respect. Avoidants often feel like they are too much for people, or that their needs are wrong. When you remain calm and keep your own life moving forward, you prove to them that you are a high-value partner who is capable of handling the complexities of a real relationship. You are showing them that your happiness is your own responsibility, and nothing is more attractive to a man who fears being responsible for someone else's entire emotional well-being. The fourth, and perhaps most important thing they want, is earned vulnerability. An avoidant person views vulnerability as a risk, not a given. They have spent years building walls because at some point in their life, being open led to pain or rejection. They don't want you to force them to open up. They want you to create an environment where opening up is the most natural thing in the world. This happens through positive reinforcement, not criticism. Most women try to get an avoidant to open up by pointing out how closed off they are. You say things like, "You never tell me how you feel," or "Why are you so cold?" This is like trying to get a turtle out of its shell by hitting it with a hammer. It only makes them retreat further. What they want is for you to notice the tiny moments where they do show up. When they share a small detail about their day, or when they offer a small gesture of affection, you need to reward that behavior with warmth and appreciation. Don't make a big deal out of it, or they'll feel self-conscious. Just lean into it. Show them that being vulnerable with you results in a positive experience, not a heavy conversation. They want to feel like they are winning with you. They want to feel like they are a good partner. If you only ever highlight what they are doing wrong, they will eventually decide that they are just bad at relationships and give up. But if you highlight the small wins, they will start to believe they can do this. Before we continue, let's pause. Type "trapped" in comments. It helps the algorithm. Now back to the deep. This leads us to the core of the issue. The reason we struggle so much with avoidant partners is because our own insecurities get triggered by their behavior. We mistake their need for self-protection as a lack of love for us. We think, if he loved me, he wouldn't need space. But the truth is, for him, he needs space precisely because he loves you, and the intensity of that feeling is overwhelming. It's a paradox. The closer he feels, the more his danger sensors go off. When you understand this, you stop taking his distance personally. You stop seeing it as a reflection of your worth and start seeing it as a reflection of his internal struggle. This shift in perspective is what changes everything. When you stop being the pursuer, you stop being the person he has to run from. You become a destination he wants to return to. Think about it like this. If you are standing in a field and you see a beautiful, skittish deer, what do? If you run toward it shouting, "I love you, let me pet you," it's going to bolt. It doesn't matter how much love you have in your heart. The deer only sees a predator. But if you sit down in the grass, quietly, and go about your business, eventually curiosity wins over fear. The deer starts to edge closer. It sniffs the air. It realizes you aren't a threat. Eventually, it might even eat out of your hand. Men with avoidant attachment are that deer. They have been hunted by expectations and trapped by demands in the past. They need to know that you are a safe place to land. So how do you actually implement this without losing yourself? Because that is the fear, isn't it? You worry that if you stop chasing, the relationship will just end. And here is the hard truth. It might. If the only thing holding the relationship together was your constant pursuit, then it wasn't a relationship, it was a chase. But for the vast majority of avoidants, when the pressure stops, the attraction starts to grow. They start to miss you. They start to wonder what you're up to. They start to realize that the cage they were afraid of doesn't actually exist. You are giving them the one thing they never thought they could have in a relationship: freedom and connection at the same time. You have to become a woman of high value who understands her own worth. You don't wait by the phone for a text that may or may not come. You have a life that is so full and so exciting that his presence is a beautiful addition, not a requirement for your survival. When he sees that you are busy with your friends, your career, and your passions, he realizes that he isn't the center of your universe. And ironically, that makes him want to be. It takes the weight off his shoulders. He no longer feels like he is responsible for your entire emotional state. He can breathe. And when he can breathe, he can love. Remember, an avoidant man's silence isn't a lack of communication. It is a communication. It's him saying, I'm overwhelmed and I don't know how to handle this feeling. If you can learn to hear that instead of hearing, I don't care about you, you will have a superpower. You will be able to navigate the highs and lows of his personality with grace and confidence. You will become the woman he can't imagine living without because you are the only one who truly understands him. You are the only one who didn't try to change him or fix him, but instead gave him the space to be himself. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding human nature. It's about recognizing that everyone has a different way of processing intimacy. Some people are like open books, and others are like locked vaults. Neither is better or worse, they just require a different key. The key to an avoidant heart is patience, autonomy, and a lack of pressure. It's about building a foundation of trust that says, I am here, I am stable, and I am not going to chase you, but I will be here when you are ready to come back. When you embody this, you stop being the victim of his distance. You become the architect of a new kind of connection. A connection that is based on mutual respect and genuine desire rather than obligation and fear. You start to see him for who he really is, not just for the ways he isn't meeting your immediate needs. And in that space of understanding, true intimacy can finally grow. It's a slower process, yes. It requires more emotional maturity from you, absolutely. But the reward is a bond that is unbreakable because it was built on a foundation of safety rather than force. So, next time you feel that familiar sting of him pulling away, I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to resist the urge to send that long paragraph or ask that heavy question. Instead, I want you to go do something that makes you happy. Go to the gym, call a friend, read a book, show him, and more importantly, show yourself that your world doesn't stop just because he needs a moment of silence. This is how you reclaim your power. This is how you change the dynamic. This is how you get what you want by giving him what he needs but doesn't know how to ask for. It takes courage to be the one who stays calm when things feel uncertain. It takes strength to give space when all you want to do is hold on tight. But that strength is exactly what he is looking for. He is looking for someone who is stronger than his fear, someone who can stand in the middle of his wall and wait for him to find the door. Be that woman. Be the anchor. Be the lighthouse. And watch as the man who used to run away starts to find his way home to you, over and over again. Because in a world that is constantly trying to capture him, you are the only one who gave him the freedom to choose you. And there is nothing more powerful than a man who chooses to stay because he no longer feels the need to run. This journey isn't just about him, though. It's about you. It's about learning to trust yourself enough to know that you will be okay no matter what happens. It's about realizing that your value isn't tied to his level of engagement on any given Tuesday. When you truly internalize that, your vibe changes. You stop projecting anxiety and start projecting peace. And peace is the most attractive thing in the world to someone who is used to internal conflict. You are capable of building the relationship you desire. It just might look a little different than the movies told you it would. It might be quieter. It might involve more silence and more space. But if it's built on this kind of deep understanding, It will be more real than anything you've ever experienced. You are not just looking for a boyfriend or a husband. You are looking for a partnership where both people feel seen, respected, and free. And by providing these 4 things he can't ask for, you are opening the door to exactly that. So take a step back today. Look at the patterns in your relationship. Where are you pushing? Where can you let go? Where can you find your own joy today without needing him to provide it? Start there. Start with yourself, because the most effective way to change a relationship is to change the way you show up in it. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And when you change the way you treat an avoidant, you change the way he treats you. It's not magic, it's psychology. And it's the most powerful tool you have in your arsenal. Go out there and be the lighthouse, not for him, but for yourself. Because you deserve a love that feels like a safe harbor, not a constant battle. And the more you cultivate that harbor within yourself, the more people will want to dock their ships there. You are worth the effort. You are worth the wait. And you are definitely worth a love that is free of fear. Keep moving forward, keep focusing on your own growth, and watch how the world and the men in it start to respond to the new, more confident you. This is your time to shine, with or without anyone else's permission. In the end, it's about creating a space where 2 people can be their most authentic selves. For an avoidant, that means being someone who doesn't have to hide their need for independence. For you, it means being someone who doesn't have to hide their strength and self-sufficiency. When those 2 things meet, you get a relationship that is grounded in reality, not fantasy. You get something that can actually last. So stop chasing the ghost and start building the temple. Build a life so beautiful that anyone would be lucky to be a part of it. And watch as the right person, avoidant or not, does everything they can to make sure they never have to leave. This is the path to a deeper, more resilient kind of love. It's not always easy, but it is always worth it. Because when you master these principles, you don't just fix a relationship, you transform your entire life. You become the kind of person who is magnetic, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. And who you are is someone who knows how to love without losing themselves. That is the ultimate goal. That is the ultimate win. Now go and make it happen. You've got this, and I'm right here with you every step of the way. Remember, the goal isn't to change them. The goal is to change the environment so that they feel safe enough to change themselves. It's a subtle but profound difference. It puts the power back in your hands while respecting their boundaries. It creates a win-win situation where you get the closeness you want and they get the space they need. It's the highest form of relationship intelligence. And it's something you can start practicing today, right now, in this very moment. Think about the last time you felt that urge to check in or ask for reassurance. What if instead you used that energy to do something for yourself? What if you took that anxiety and turned it into productivity or self-care? That is the secret. That is how you break the cycle. That is how you turn a struggling relationship into a thriving one. It starts with one small choice to act from a place of security rather than a place of fear. And every time you make that choice, you get stronger, you get more attractive, and you get closer to the love you've always wanted. So don't be afraid of the silence. Don't be afraid of the space. Embrace it. Use it. Let it be the fertile ground where a new kind of love grows. A love that isn't needy or desperate, but strong and sure. A love that doesn't need to be chased because it knows exactly where it belongs. You are that destination. You are that home. Never forget that. Your value is inherent. It is non-negotiable. And the right person will see that, especially when you stop trying so hard to prove it to them. Let your presence speak for itself. Let your life be the evidence of your worth, and let him come to you in his own time, on his own terms, because he finally feels safe enough to do so. This is the beauty of understanding the avoidant mind. It's not about manipulation. It's about compassion. It's about seeing the wounded child behind the cold exterior and choosing to respond with wisdom instead of more wounding. It's about being the adult in the room and leading the way to a healthier dynamic. It's a noble path, and it's one that leads to the most fulfilling connections imaginable. Keep going, keep learning, keep loving with your eyes wide open and your heart secure in its own value. You are doing the work that most people are too afraid to do, and for that, you should be incredibly proud. As you move forward, keep these 4 things in mind. Give the graceful exit. Practice low-stakes intimacy. Be the anchor in the storm. And reward earned vulnerability. These are the keys to the kingdom. Use them wisely, use them consistently, and watch the transformation unfold. You have the power to create the love you deserve. It starts with understanding. It continues with patience. And it finishes with a connection that is deeper than you ever thought possible. You are ready for this. You have everything you need. Now go out there and build something beautiful. When you stop trying to force the river, you realize that it flows just fine on its own. Relationships are the same way. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just step back and let the natural flow take over. Trust that what is meant for you will not pass you by. Trust that by being your best self, you are attracting the best version of everyone else. It's a universal law, and it's one that will never let you down. So breathe, relax, and let the love you've been working so hard for finally find its way to you. Every interaction is an opportunity to practice these skills. Every moment of distance is a chance to show your strength. Every small connection is a chance to show your warmth. It's a dance. And now that you know the steps, you can lead with confidence. You can move with grace. And you can enjoy the music, regardless of what the other person is doing. Because you are the master of your own emotional state. And that is the most powerful position you can ever be in. So as we wrap up today, I want you to take these lessons to heart. Don't just listen to them, live them. Put them into practice today. Notice how it feels to let go of the pressure. Notice how it feels to focus on yourself. Notice how the energy between you and your partner starts to shift. It might be subtle at first, but over time, it will be undeniable. You are creating a new reality. You are building a new future. And it all starts with these 4 simple shifts. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the deep work. Thank you for caring enough about yourself and your relationships to seek out this knowledge. You are part of a community of women who are redefining what it means to be in a relationship. We are moving away from dependency and toward empowerment. We are moving away from fear and toward love. And it's a beautiful thing to witness. Keep sharing your journey, keep asking the hard questions, and keep showing up for yourself every single day. The world needs more lighthouses. It needs more anchors. It needs more women like you who are willing to do the work to build something real. So go out there and shine. Be the safe harbor and watch as the man you love finally finds the courage to drop his anchor and stay. You've got this. I believe in you. And I can't wait to hear about the incredible transformations that are about to happen in your life. Stay strong, stay beautiful, and most importantly, stay true to yourself. The love you want is waiting for you on the other side of your own growth. Go get it.